Okay, let me see what we got from the Act Maestro. We got Overwatch 2 was a pointless sequel. What does your boy got to say about O-Dub's Dose?
What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here, and today, Blizzard has finally given in. At last, they have admitted that Overwatch 2 was just one big silly mistake. Or at least...
Wait, what was that? Director's take. Opening up the conversation on 5v5 and 6v6. Oh my god. Bro, like, since Overwatch 2 came out, it's always been like 50-50 on whether or not they should go back to 6v6 or just stay on 5v5. I've been getting like berated in my damn YouTube algo about random ass 5v5 good, 5v5 bad, bring back 6v6, leave it in the dust.
Or at least that is the implication we can draw, because they recently announced in a blog post that they were opening up the conversation on 5v5 and 6v6. Now, the fact that they are even considering returning to the old format from Overwatch 1 is a clear indication to me that this was not the right creative direction for Overwatch 2. It hasn't fulfilled its intended purpose for the developers or the fans. In other words, it's kind of like WoW Classic, right?
You don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that. Overwatch 2 change into 5v5.
Either. You think you do,
but you don't.
Yep, you guys are right. We fucked up our game again, and so we're just gonna go back to the thing that you liked and resell you that. Isn't it funny to think about this? Like,
bro, I can't wait for WoW Classic 2. For them to go back and do WoW Classic 2. Do you think they're gonna do all the same memes again? Bro, that'd be so funny if they actually did. If they recreate that that BlizzCon little like question Q&A panel with the audience. You don't want that. You think you do, but how goated would that be? You guys don't want Classic 2, do you? You want to go back again?
Like, they spent all this time and effort adjusting the balance mechanics, abilities, team compositions, and every facet.
The loot boxes, the battle passes, the monetization model. I mean, shit, all I hear is like, go back to the old way of just earn loot boxes, not necessarily spend money on loot boxes, earn the loot boxes by just playing the game.
Of Overwatch to make it fit with 5v5. And now they have to undo all of that work.
Yeah.
I might be the first to coin this term, but it's like they have to undevelop the game. This is
undevelop the game.
Development, where you screw up the game so bad you effectively have to roll back like years worth of development. So
yeah, didn't Call of Duty, like Call of Duty League, do this in like one of their they started in like one thing of their game. Like, it was originally 5v5 and then they went to 4v4 and now I think they've went back to 5v5. I think. Or was it 4v4 first and then 5v5 and then they went back to 4v4? I forgot which one it was. I don't really pay attention to COD, like Call of Duty League, but I know that was a thing. So it's not like this is a new concept of like, oh, plus or minus one player, it like ruins the entire game flow of a game. This is not like a new concept.
Today we're going to dive into this blog post and discuss the rise of Overwatch and how one of the most innovative games of the last decade wound up getting a pointless sequel.
Are you with me?
No. But before we jump into it, fun fact, did you know every video game with craft in the title is a fucking banger? This is even more true with the sponsor of today's video, StarCraft. Set in the incredibly serious setting of the Chernobyl exclusion zone, you play as one of these guys in a fight.
Is this Roblox?
To survive and extract. Yes, I'm serious. Like, I was sold on the art style alone. It's hard to explain.
Bro, I thought this was Roblox.
Something you've never really seen before. StarCraft is a game that, while it looks blocky and goofy and fun, at the same time it's like gritty and dark. You get to enjoy both the simple and complex pleasures with StarCraft. Don't let the graphics fool you. StarCraft has surprisingly deep progression and customization. Now, I'm not
Oh my god, look at this. Look at this. Like, if you like this type of game where you got bars on bars on bars with greens and reds coming out of every white bar,
and customization,
and then you got this web of attachments, you have a charcuterie board of attachments. If you like this thing, and look at all the stats. The stats start at the top and they go all the way to the bottom. And then you get some little customization squares. If you like this, this is great.
Now, I'm not big into extraction shooters myself, but I can tell you for certain this one is worth checking out, especially when it goes for the low price of free. It's like a paradox of fun. Two concepts you never imagined in your wildest dreams.
Free to play extraction shooter. Oh wow.
Being crashed together into one solid experience. I'll sweeten the deal. If you download the game using the code TheActman24, I'll give you a free grab bag of goodies to start your journey off right. And you can download StarCraft for free today on Steam. Check the links in the description and pinned comment. And thank you, StarCraft, for sponsoring this video.
And now for something completely different.
Good for Agman for getting that. Me personally, I was never usually a huge fan of the extraction shooters. Especially with that, the jiggle that killed, was it the jiggle or the wiggle? The wiggle that killed Tarkov. I'm just like so far removed from extraction shooters.
Now, first off, why the sudden decision to start shifting back to 6v6? While the hero shooter genre is seeing...
Well, the hero shooter genre, there's a strong community of people that like that type of gameplay. It's like the Overwatch type of gameplay is like arena, but everyone just keeps pushing. Like, just push. I mean, you got abilities, you got shooting, you got up and down. I mean, I never fell in love with Overwatch. That's just me, but I can see the appeal of it. It's not like Overwatch or this new game, what was it, Marvel Rivals? It's not like these are bad games by any means. They probably play like really well and are very like responsive. And more so in the case with Marvel Rivals, there's just like more creative leeway to just do like weird wonky shit.
A bit of a resurgence with Marvel Rivals. You should check out my video on that. The game's fucking incredible. Highly recommend. Also put a link in the description and pinned comment. Also, come join my public Discord server, the Act Clan. It's awesome in there. But there's also Sony's Concord coming out in a few weeks. Valve is working on their own hero shooter, which got leaked. I think what?
The Valve has a hero shooter already. It's called Team Fortress 2. Why would they try to make a new one? What are we doing, Valve? You trying to reinvent the wheel? Wait, you gonna make it like a circle? Like more circle? And even if they are gonna make like a new hero shooter, that's not what FPS needs. There's already enough hero shooters.
A few months ago. So there's mounting competition and pressure, and perhaps Blizzard was faced with a decision to preemptively adapt Overwatch for when these new hero shooters come out. It just so happens that Marvel Rivals started its closed beta period one day after Blizzard made this announcement, so it could very well be a coincidence, but as one trained in the Force.
You know that true coincidences are rare.
Yeah.
I'm certainly...
Yeah, that Marvel Rivals coming out right after that little post. That was that company going like trying to like just straight dunk on Blizzard. It's like, yeah, we have 6v6, just ignore that, guys. We got 6v6 here. We got all your favorite Marvel people. Everybody can fly, everybody can counter flying. It's great over here. Just come on.
One of many who jumped ship or lost interest in Overwatch after 2 came out. And I've been looking for something to fill that void. And I think it's for the same reason people are willing to deal with the bullshit of Battle State games and Escape from Tarkov.
What?
ship or lost interest in Overwatch after 2 came out. And I've been looking for something to fill that void. And I think it's for the same.
There are so many competitive free-to-play shooters to play right now. CS or Valorant. You got Halo for the controller bros. You got Call of Duty for more controller bros. Fortnite. You have Rainbow Six Siege. What else? You have Apex Legends. I mean, what else? You got Battlefield, which is like meh. It's kind of dying. Whatever. You got this new game, Delta Force, Hawk Ops. That's like a new thing that everyone's doing. You got that what's that like goofy tactical shooter, the wonky one? There's like 2 of them that are like they're just like wonky Valorant with like the ricocheting bullets and shit. I mean, the shooting genre is so saturated with every type of shooting game that you could imagine.
Reason people are willing to deal with the bullshit of battle state games and escape.
Oh, and I forgot about extraction shooters. I mean, he's referencing the Tarkov meme of like the developers trying to milk more money out of their players for that thing. Yeah, if you have like extraction shooters, there's Tarkov, there's probably like a couple other ones. If you like a grindy game, if you like looter shooters, there's Warframe. What else? There's Destiny 2. What else? Hunt Showdown, that's a thing. There's a ton of shooting games.
From Tarkov.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
That they're sticking with Overwatch. I'll bet thousands of gamers find themselves dealing with Overwatch 2 simply because nothing else on the market feels quite like it. And if you want something that fulfills...
I mean, honestly, like, Overwatch is not a bad game. Every character has like a unique play style. It's really like the responsiveness and the snappiness that Overwatch has going for it.
Fills that old Overwatch vibe. Marvel Rivals it's looking pretty good, but with these new hero shooters coming out, there might be some actual competition, you know? And it's alluring. The idea of going back in time when Overwatch was king, at its peak, when everyone loved it. I've recently...
You know what I think? People just want to pick like one end-all be-all thing, and because that's where all the attention is at. People aren't really necessarily tied to a game specifically or a gameplay type specifically. They just want to be a part of the game that everyone else is playing. Seldom will you get people that will continue to play a game that they actually like truly like for years and years on end. For the most part, I think people will just gravitate towards one game just purely for the popularity factor. It's like the most popular one, so I'm just gonna play the most popular one because it validates everything and any type of achievement I get. And also, I'm just gonna play the game that my friends are playing. Those are like the 2 main ones.
Been watching some of their old cinematics, and my god, you're just transported to a different time when Blizzard was still a pretty good company. How the times change.
You think you honor your brother Genji with incense and offerings?
What?
Honor resides in one's actions. You dare to lecture me about honor? You are not worthy to say his name!
Oh shit.
And that's the thing, it's hard to look back on these cinematics because none of this ever panned out in the actual game.
Oh, that was supposed to be the PvP thing. Or not the PvP thing, the PvE thing.
PvE story mode was the most requested feature for so many years, and after like 2 years
of
marketing, Blizzard abandoned
Oh,
that.
look at that. The PvE trailer. Isn't Overwatch 2 getting that still? But it's only going to be like a pie slice of what it was supposed to be. A tiny sliver.
time to abandon ship.
They
Yeah.
showed us that they didn't care about this story, and so neither should we. But I want to take a quick crash course into what went wrong with Overwatch 2. Now, this part of the video could be 30 minutes, but we're going to keep it short. Around 2019, we started seeing fewer updates to Overwatch 1 because Blizzard was focusing on a sequel. So for a couple years, fans were starved for new content. But when Overwatch 2 was announced,
Oh, wow. Another shooting game that is starved for content. What should we put in it? I don't know. How about something like Halo Forge or complete utter customization modes? How about a bunch of casual modes? A bunch of like just fun, wonky, whatever game modes? Like, what's wrong with that?
hype was at its peak. Kind of, but because of the expansive talent trees, all these new abilities, a focus on story, and most importantly, this highly anticipated PvE mode, fans were somewhat skeptical when it was revealed the game would shift to 5v5 instead of 6v6, and especially that Overwatch 2 would replace the base
Not only are they taking away the contents, they're taking away the players on your team.
game. So if it wasn't an objective improvement in every way, that would piss people off, because they wouldn't be able to go back and play a previous version if they didn't like the new one. Blizzard's fuck-ups didn't end there. They then decided to release Overwatch 2's PvP sooner and delay the PvE to later. The game released with god-awful monetization. We all thought loot boxes were bad. Somehow it got worse to a level that not even EA could compete with. Unlocking every cosmetic without spending money would have taken 327 years to do.
Damn. Bro, 327? 327 years. 327 years if you suck. Oh my god. How long was it supposed to take for Battlefront 2? For the dude that did all that big old like calculations to try to unlock all the heroes? Wasn't like 1,000 years to unlock all the heroes? It's like anybody that has like some basic math skills can figure this out. And you didn't think that when this got out and everybody discovered that it would take 327 years, you didn't think that you weren't going to get a little bit of criticism for that? That is so funny. But this is going off of the fact if you want to actually earn all the cosmetics or I don't know, like, because isn't like the way you earn cosmetics in Overwatch, like, or at least in the beginning, you like played some time or you played X amount of time, you did like some challenges or whatever, and then you got like some currency, and then you spent the currency on whatever cosmetic. And it was purely a time sink. Just invest the time, get the currency, get the cosmetic. Is it so bad to like actually try to get some cosmetics for like doing things? Like not just a show up and you get a ribbon for showing up. Where's like get 100 headshots, get a thing, get up to diamond or get up to grandmaster or whatever, get another thing, do this ultra sick, get a fucking pentakill, get a thing, get like score 50 crouching kills or whatever, do one for each little character that has like a unique way to move around the map and shit. As Lucio, get a triple kill on a wall or something. Like you couldn't do that.
27 years to do without paying money. That is not a joke. Additionally, when the game launched, you couldn't log into the servers unless you provided Blizzard with your phone number.
Do you guys not have phones? Yeah.
Your birth certificate and the name and address of the doctor who delivered you. Then in May of 2023, Blizzard announced that the extensive PvE plans, not doing that. Sorry, we used that to promote the game. We're scrapping that in favor of these story-based events that you can pay $15 for. Oh, looks like nobody did that. In March 2024, Jason Schreier reported that the PvE missions didn't sell well enough, and the entire PvE was scrapped moving forward. quite the clusterfuck of bad decisions. Maybe a month after Overwatch 2 came out, I stopped playing it, kind of lost interest. And here's the thing, Overwatch will always be fun on a fundamental level.
Yeah.
But the deception...
The fundamental thing that makes Overwatch good is the gameplay. And they even managed to like fuck that up. Because didn't they like increase the hitboxes by like 50%? So like you can get like a hit. Like let's say Ackman is like the hitbox. You can get like a hit on a bullet that's like right here and it'll still count. Isn't that a thing?
and lies perpetuated by Blizzard and Activision executives, I think has forever tarnished the game and my perception around it. Maybe I'll try it again at some point, but So now we're going to take a look at this blog post. Now it is pretty lengthy, so I'm going to just try to keep the most important parts and discuss the direction of the game. There's been a lot of talk about 6v6 lately, and it's only intensified in recent weeks. This is a pretty complex and nuanced topic, and it gets to the beating heart of what makes this game tick. Our players have different opinions and preferences about the ideal number of players in an Overwatch match, and so does our team. I think this kind of just goes back to the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
I'm still really not sure what 5v5 was supposed to do or improve on the formula. Sure, the idea of having fewer players means each player's contribution is more meaningful. I mean, that stands up in FPS games. You look at Battlefield, right? But it never really felt like it in Overwatch 2. It just felt like if you were a tank, the pressure was on you twice as much, which also eliminated like the off-tank role, kind of like Zarya.
Yeah.
I'd like to set a few expectations and ground rules. First, it's pretty long. Creators are going to lose their voices reading this one aloud.
Wow. How on the nose can you be when you just put that sentence in there?
You got me there. This is a game and your preference for fun is relative to your own tastes, ability, and experience. Lastly, there are years of decisions that affect such a fundamental piece of Overwatch. I'd like to set the stage and give some context on some of the larger changes to the game that ultimately culminated in the 5v5 format we have today. So this historical context section pretty much just runs through the history of development and how they settled on 6v6 and the problems with duplicate heroes and whatnot. And originally it sounds like they had planned to balance the game around no limits, which would have been kind of silly. And they say the variety was great, but we didn't feel like we could ever truly balance the game without severely watering down our heroes.
Okay. We can't balance the game without severely watering down our heroes. So the core of Overwatch is it's a hero shooter. So that implies you have like abilities and shooting. Whenever you add abilities and shooting, you kind of have to make the abilities worth a damn alongside with the shooting. In some cases, you have to make the abilities meaningful alongside of just shooting. So when they say watering down our heroes, they are probably meaning that we can't nerf the abilities too much to make it so that only shooting is like so powerful. Because if that was the case, then the game would only facilitate only like top level aimers and the top level competitors that play the game. In order to like have a somewhat level playing field, you have to give like the 99% of people something in their tool belt to compete with the tippy top level aimers. So that has to be some sort of ability or something, like a heal, like a big old projectile thing that's like way bigger than it has to be. Explosions, you name it. All right. That has to be there. Like me personally, I probably wouldn't mind watering down and like letting the shooting do the talking. But I mean, it's Blizzard's game. They're going to do with it what they want.
So we made the choice to impose a limit of one of each hero per team. A theme of this and future decisions was limiting match variety as well as player freedom and creativity in order to create a more balanced, consistent, and competitive experience for players.
Theme of the future with limiting match variety. So this kind of sounds stupid because I'm going to use the example of, I think it was either Halo 2 or 3. Whenever you think of, like, Halo 2 and 3 had ranked versions of many different types of game modes, and that made those games really fun. You don't want limiting match variety. You want, like, limiting match variety to what was it, like the little cart push thing of like attacking and defending type of deal. I mean, if you like that and you really do like that, I mean, great. But for the general population of players, I would say that you should probably have more than just one type of competitive, like, ranked match. I mean, you could argue that, like, oh, there's push and then there's that other one, or I mean, I don't really know the fucking difference. Essentially, you got all players like just slamming their faces together. You know, it's like, oh, we won this battle. Oh, we can push forward on the map, and like, oh no, we pushed you back. We stopped you. Now we're gonna push back or whatever. Or we're on the attacking side. We can push the little car forward, and then, oh no, we defended you. We're gonna push the car back. It's like, it's about the same damn type of mode, guys. Come on. At least with like Halo 2 and 3, you had a bunch of different types of ranked modes, which just adds longevity to a game. Limiting the match variety type, it just seems like stupid to me.
And that's totally fair. I think when Overwatch first came out and everybody...
Balance is what tippy top 1% of players want. Randomness is what 99% of players want.
Was experiencing this type of game for the first time, those non-TF2 fans. No Limits was fun. It was wacky. It was crazy. Obviously, I think everybody knew the game competitively wasn't supposed to be balanced around No Limits, but now it's a fun, like, little side mode. And I think Overwatch is a game that can be both wacky, crazy, competitive, and casual. But it is really hard to balance a game that can fulfill all three types of gameplay.
The shooting genre is just inherently competitive. When you have like two players and they are both trying to put each other's reticles on each other's heads and trying to take away their health, that is inherently competitive. You cannot do that casually. Same thing with a fighting game. You have a character and a character. Both people are trying to take away the other's health. Okay, you cannot do that casually. You know, in some way, shape, or form, it is competitive. Now, I understand what you mean when you say casual modes and competitive modes. I get it. But you just gotta understand that shooting games are inherently competitive.
If someone wanted to play Tracer, but you were already Tracer, they would... Wait a second. Oh, God. Oh, God. PTSD.
Oh, God.
I'm already Tracer.
I remember this fucking thing. God dang it.
The second large change to the game's format was the move from open queue to roll queue, which limited team compositions to 2 heroes from each.
Oh yeah, the whole holy trinity of tank, DPS, heals. Yep, if it's a Blizzard game, you gotta have the holy trinity.
Roll. Again, I think roll queue is fine, but I don't see what the issue with having 2 ranked playlists is, right? Ranked roll queue, ranked open queue. Open queue, you get more creativity and you could do like 3 DPS, 2 healers, 1 tank, 3 tanks, 3 healers, whatever. I think my issues with roll queue stemmed from it being like mandatory in almost all facets of play, either competitive or casual. Also, why couldn't you have done an experimental 5v5 mode with how the game was balanced in the first game? I don't know. No, we had to make an entirely new game for that. Then it talks about role balance and how DPS is the most popular role. And I think that just...
Yeah, surprise. In the shooting game, you want to be shooting and doing damage. Who would have thunk? What a brain blast. Nobody plays a shooting game to shoot the heals at their own teammate. Nobody plays a shooting game to tank the heals from the entire enemy team. That is not intuitive. When you think shooting game, you think doing damage.
Stems from healers and tanks not being as fun to play. Personally, I always found them fun to play, but once players started getting...
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like back in the day whenever video games had like the good guy path and the bad guy path. In a game, like good guy ending, bad guy ending, and then you could progress down each path. Developers would intentionally put more time and effort into the good guy path because they knew about 70+% of players, if they only play the game one time playthrough, they will probably play the good guy path. So they intentionally put more time and effort into the good guy path and make that gaming experience just like, I don't know, more better. And they would put some time and effort into the bad guy path, but just simply not as much. It wouldn't be as fulfilling as the good guy path. That's what that sounds like. They put a lot of time and effort into the DPS characters, and then just like made the tank and the heals just like, okay, it's good enough.
Good at Overwatch, it didn't take too long for like competitive sweats to kind of ruin the experience. And
No. Competitive sweats do not ruin the experience. It's the matchmaking. It's the public modes. It's the competitive modes. That's what it is. Like I said before, shooting games are just inherently competitive.
And I will say this, no matter what you have to say about Overwatch, the fact that they're trying to fix the game, or at least go back to what was better, you know, I can commend Blizzard for doing that. Yeah, and then this section talks about how role queue introduced longer queue times because it was mandatory and some people didn't like it. They talk about how they tried to incentivize people to play tank or healer and it didn't really work.
How would you incentivize people playing tank and heals? You would have to offer them like more cosmetics, or at least faster ways to get cosmetics. That's the only thing. If your logic is like, oh, people want to just play the games for the cosmetics and like progression system, and how are you going to try to incentivize the tank and heal roles? Well, then you would obviously have to incentivize them with like either more loot boxes or more currency earned whenever you play this or that role. But then that devalues all of the currency that you would obtain if you were to just queue as the DPS.
Again, I think Marvel Rivals has a lot of really fun healers. Like Loki has a bunch of trickery mechanics and he can copy an enemy hero's entire moveset. So at least
Maybe this is like a bonehead take, but people like, bro, most people, like I said, when they think shooting game, they want to do damage to the bad guy. They don't want to heal. They don't want to heal their own teammate. It don't matter how fun it is. Shooting game, I'm shooting damage to the bad guy.
for part of the match, he can play as any role. There were additional drawbacks with role queue I mentioned earlier that many of our decisions made improvements to the game at the cost of match variety and player freedom. Team comps were now locked at 2-2-2. This was another step to a more consistent experience within Overwatch, but sometimes consistency can start to feel samey.
Yep.
Yeah, and that highlights one of the big problems with role queue is that it limited your options for counter picking and variety of matches. And I think that's when I started.
The whole counter picking thing is not even like, to my knowledge, whenever you play Overwatch, the whole counter picking aspect of the game is not even like it. They don't say it anywhere in the game. There's no tutorial for it. When the enemy team picks this guy, you're supposed to pick that guy to counter him. When you got like this guy, the enemy team picks that guy, you're supposed to counter him and pick this guy. Like, nowhere in the game do they say counter pick at all. And besides, I think most people don't even like to fucking counter pick. Most people just like to latch on to like one or two characters and they just want to play those characters. All right.
To, you know, play Overwatch a bit less because I feel like my matches were predetermined to be a certain way. Like I said, could have just had 2 ranked playlists, 2 casual playlists, 1 open, 1 role queue. Why we switched
to... they probably could have done that. I would agree with Ackman on that. At least do that.
5v5. When we launched Overwatch 2, we talked about the greater individual agency that players could have in 5v5. Overwatch is a team sport and it requires players to rely on each other to be successful. Many times fights in 6v6 couldn't resolve until ultimate abilities came online. Correct that, until ultimate combos could be executed to break through 2 tanks worth of mitigation supported by high uncontested healing output. The world of 6v6 could have really high highs but really low lows. One of the design goals of 5v5 was to try to raise that floor, even though it was at the expense of some of those high moments. I don't know, I guess it kind of worked. Like in 5v5, it's easier to break lines, but I think it's also just generally less fun. This was also back when there was more CC and hard crowd control to single out targets.
Yeah, this is the minutia of the game. This is the shit we're talking about. Oh, Jesus. Get slept, get chained, get slept again.
And a quick side note, I want to say that I appreciate them being so transparent about the reasons for their design choices and the pros and cons of each. Here it talks about damage heroes complained that their role was the least impactful, support heroes had to focus almost exclusively on healing, and tank synergy wasn't always fun. But that these things were kind of fixed and addressed in 5v5, so then the question is, why are we thinking about going back to it? While 6v6 can have high moments, it's also hard to follow. Tracking 9 other players is easier than 11, fewer visual effects, especially during big team fights. Moving to 5v5 made it more cognitively manageable. Lastly,
Maybe this is a hot take, maybe not. It doesn't matter if it's 5v5 or 6v6. Overwatch is hard to watch. You have either 10 or 12 people on the map, all jumping around, all throwing shit back and forth. Everybody's popping out a shield, everybody's popping out abilities, heal beam this, damage move that, go get the little heal, come back. You have these like little red lines or blue lines on the ground. You're waiting for like a little ultimate to come up. There is so much shit to like a layman person that would be new to the game. There's just so much shit to watch. It don't matter if it's 5v5 or 6v6. Overwatch is hard to watch, period. The main reason is nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Like, in order to enjoy Overwatch, you have to play Overwatch. Which is in contrast, the main example I would use in contrast is regular sports. Let's say you have like a little kid and they're just learning about sports. It's like, oh, what's going on? You don't need to really worry, son, about what's going on. Just look at the ball. Just look at the ball, and that's where the action's at. Soccer, look who's got the soccer ball. Hockey, look at the hockey puck. Basketball, look at the basketball. Baseball, where the baseball at? Just look at the ball. Where's the ball for Overwatch? You could say it's the push robot or the car, but then that's not where all the players are. There may be like one tank or something there, like doing the shield thing or whatever. But then again, sometimes that's not even like the main thing. Sometimes the tank will just like dive in like way past the car or the robot to try to break the line. It's just hard to watch.
One of the biggest benefits of 5v5 was dramatically reduced queue times. And as you can see here, holy shit, 7.6 minutes to play one match of Overwatch.
Damn, average competitive role queue times. Let me see. Wait. Competitive. So I would probably appreciate a chart that was like a little bit more in detail. Overwatch 6v6 post queue roll time, or post roll queue. Overwatch 2 5v5 lifetime. Overwatch 6v6 post roll queue. Overwatch 2 system lifetime. Overwatch 6v6 post route. So understandably, the higher rank you get, the longer you have to wait. And, point blank, that just sucks, but you just have to accept it. I would guess that if you're in like the bell curve of people that play the game, you'll probably get a queue pretty quick. Even more so if you're new. Like if you're new to the game, you'll probably get a queue really quick. if you're in like the bell curve of like gold or plat or diamond or whatever, I'd still say, I don't know what the ranks are. If you're in the bell curve, you'll still get a queue pretty quick. It only really starts to be an issue once you start to get up there in ranked.
Watch that could last less than that. But see how this only talks about post roll queue and not open queue? I feel like that's important. Like open queue times back in Overwatch, it was rare to wait more than 1 minute. I'll be completely honest. So this makes sense, right? The actual ratio of players queuing for tank damage and support is much closer to 1-2-2 than 2-2-2. As a result, this format better mirrors actual player interest in each role. So 5v5 was basically a solution to a problem that was introduced to solve another solution, role queue. It seems like role queue is just the problem. Was it really worth redesigning all of the champions and abilities just to shorten the queue time when you could have done that a different way? Thoughts on 6v6? The game started its life with 6 players on each team. There were moments in madness that could happen with 12 players in a match that just don't quite coalesce when there are 10. It was almost too much to keep track of. Correction, it was too much to keep track of at times, but that was part of the charm. Exactly. I 100% agree. There are big moments in Overwatch 2, but they don't quite have that same chaotic, over-the-top feeling to them. Part of that chaos allowed players to feel less pressure in a match. It's like he's reading my mind.
Oh, that should clean everyone. There we go.
Oh, damn. Look at Ackman.
Oh my god.
Damn, was that a fucking whole team wipe? Like, look at him. Just lighting up the kill feed.
I saved in that clip. Nice.
That was a damn team
Can't wait
wipe.
to see that replayed.
There was an extra player to take up a bit of slack for someone who is performing poorly. And I also felt like, again, because Overwatch was inspired by MOBAs, which are 5v5, 6v6 made the game stand out. So what's next? Because of the challenges mentioned previously, we are focused on making 5v5 the best experience it can be. However, because we operate as a service to our players, we always remain open-minded to reevaluating our decisions based on your actions and feedback to give you the best game experience we can, rather than introduce a disruptive, permanent change to the game. Oh, you mean like role queue? You mean like the existence of Overwatch 2 eliminating the first game? That was...
Bro, like, why not just have both of them in there? Like, whenever they switched from 6v6 to like 5v5, why did they completely have to just ditch like 6v6? Why couldn't you just have both modes in there? And then to figure out how you want to do OWL League, just figure out which one who's playing more of which mode. Are more people playing 6v6 or more people playing 5v5? Oh, more people playing 6v6? Okay. Just do the tournament on that one. Like, you taking modes away and out of the game. It's like you're just taking content out of the game for no reason.
Was pretty disruptive and permanent. With that said, we're looking at running a series of events to try out different core team composition formats in Overwatch 2. The community has just once or twice suggested a test. Why not put various forms of 6v6 in the game in order to gauge the results? We agree, and we're going to test out different forms of 6v6. So yeah, the main gist is that they're going to try 6v6. They acknowledge the problems with 5v5 and the problems with queue times that they haven't really completely figured out.
I mean, shit. I say fuck it. Put 6v6, put 5v5, put 4v4, put 3v3. Who cares? Put more modes in the game. Make the game fun.
Overall, I think this is a pretty good, insightful blog post. Shockingly, there's not much for me to make fun of, but I want to read some of the comments. I can't help but wonder, what if Overwatch 1 and 2 had remained separate games? Would 6v6 still have been such a hot topic within the community? Could you experiment with adding a third-person mode? The question of what if these had remained 2 separate games?
Oh, yeah, third-person mode. Yeah, just put it in there. Just put it in there. Leave it in there. If you don't want it to be part of the main ranked mode, just leave it in as like a side thing. Just to have like some novelty.
Is kind of like superfluous because they would have never done that in the first place. What are people gonna...
It's like, I don't even know what it's like, dude. It's like everyone is trying to only make the one end all be all mode. Everyone's trying to just make another version of Counter-Strike. You know, this is our one thing, and we do this one thing really good. Like, bro, Halo 2 and 3 with all their different types of game mode, ranked game modes and casual modes of all the different game modes, that was peak right there.
Pay money for cosmetics for 2 separate games. They just should have done the fucking PvE mode. It would have solved all of our problems. But if Overwatch 2 goes
Nah. If PvE mode actually came out, people would still be bitching and complaining about 5v5.
back to 6v6, then one of the biggest changes and reasons for Overwatch 2 existing would be removed, effectively making Overwatch 2 a pointless sequel.
Yeah.
Like I said at the start, the fact that they're even considering 6v6 is kind of an indication that 5v5 was not the direction to go. I personally think there were more pros to 6v6 than 5v5, but maybe some players will just be happy enough experiencing Overwatch 2 like they did the first game. And so for some, that might be all they need. But at the end of the day, I'm still left wondering, what was the point of all of this? Basically, every update they've had to Overwatch 2 could have just been an update to the base game.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Do you still play Overwatch 2?
No.
Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to The Act Man for more awesome content. Alright everyone, that's all I got for today. This is The Act Man, signing out. Peace!
I wanna be Winston.
I guess I'll begin.
Oh, nope, not doing that. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, Overwatch 2, it was pretty pointless. Everybody thought it was pointless. Like, come on. You're going to come out with a whole new game and just add like a mode and maybe an extra character or two and call it a new game? That's not a game, man. Like, come on. I don't know. Maybe one day gamers will rise up again and vote with their wallet and time and game choice. But today is not that day. But no, overall cool video, good one. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.